Top 10 most fascinating, most interesting, most special and unique cities in Switzerland. In this video, we're traveling throughout Switzerland for 10 most interesting places to visit, cities and towns. Number 1, Geneva. Geneva is the second largest city in Switzerland, right after Zurich. It's the most international city in Europe with over 40% of expats. The main industries here, not surprisingly perhaps banking, intergovernmental organizations are headquartered here. You might know that European headquarters of UN are located here. Technology and naturally tourism. Geneva is one of the most beautiful and cultural cities in the world, combining the splendors of nature, history, architecture, and, well, loads and loads of it. Geneva has a rich history and dates back to more than 4,000 years that continues to influence the development of the city to this day. And most memorable facts about Geneva. The Jet d'Eau fountain was not supposed to be a fountain. Not at all, not even close. It was an industrial necessity. Back in 1886, when Geneva opened a hydraulic pumping station, at the end of each day, a valve was used to release the water pressure in the air. People enjoyed the spectacle so much that soon it became a remarkable symbol of Geneva. It was then amplified and relocated to the center of lake and became Jet d'Eau fountain that we know and love today. World Wide Web was actually created in Geneva, thanks to which you're watching this video right now. So let's go back, not so long ago, to March 1989 when Tim Berners-Lee, a science working at CERN, submitted a proposal to his boss. His idea was to develop a radical new way of linking and sharing information over the internet, aka WWW. Long story short, it led to what we know today as World Wide Web, and the rest, as they say, is history. Switzerland has quite a reputation for the watch industry. Everyone knows that, but did you know that the first Swiss wristwatch was made in Geneva in 1868? Patek Philippe created the first Swiss wristwatch. It was actually made for a lady. It was a lady's timepiece commissioned by Countess Koschewitz of Hungary. She was certainly ahead of her time, wasn't she? Zurich. Zurich is the largest city in Switzerland and the capital of Canton Zurich. City with diverse and rich history, located in north-central Switzerland at the northwestern tip of beautiful Lake Zurich. Founded by Romans who called it back in the day Turicum, the earliest settlements, however, date back all the way to more than 6,400 years ago. One of the happiest cities in the world, according to several surveys, Zurich is considered to be the best place to live in. Especially in terms of quality of life, people in Zurich feel that they have social support and the healthy life expectancy that is the highest in Europe, second only to Japan. It's also Europe's richest city with low taxes, pretty perfect if you ask me. However, all of that is sadly counterbalanced with the fact that it's really, really, really expensive in all aspects of life, especially the real estate. Zurich is a hotspot for research and development. Many international corporations have branches here. Google has their largest European office in downtown Zurich, right next to the train station, if you're interested. Enjoying your breakfast cereal? So do I. Did you know that muesli was invented in Zurich? Physician and nutritionist Max Banner experimented with the positive effects of raw foods, and having studied in the University of Zurich, he opened his clinic here in Zurich, researching on benefits of natural foods. All of that started in 1897. He encouraged the consumption of self-invented cereal, muesli, which is still consumed by millions across the world today. Number 3, Bern, the capital city of Switzerland, built on the picturesque Aar River, traces its origins back to 12th century. With very well preserved, beautiful medieval old town. Here you will also find Swiss Parliament, a neo-Renaissance building where diplomats meet and the magic of Swiss direct democracy put in action. Nearby the Swiss Parliament, you'll find the medieval tower known as Zitkloge, dating back to 13th century, which is perhaps the most famous landmark in the city. Since its construction, it served as guard tower, civic memorial, naturally clock tower, and even a prison. Nowadays, it's just a clock tower, and it's possible to go on a guided tour inside of Zitkloge and see the mechanism in action. If you're not too tired and you're able to climb all the way up, you will find a beautiful panoramic view over the old town. Bern is known for its bears. In fact, the name in German Bern Sounds exactly like bears. According to the legend, the reason behind it was that the city was named after a bear. Duke of Zachingen, who founded the city, claimed that he would name the city after the first animal he encountered on the hunt. That turned out to be a bear, so the city Bern was born. The namesake residents live in the city to this day. In the very downtown Bern, pretty much, you will find the Bärengraben. That's the bear pit. It's the most iconic city park of Bern. It's free of charge, so certainly worth a visit. Number 4, Lausanne, a city on Lake Geneva, French-speaking region of Waadt, Switzerland. Even though it's a French-speaking part of Switzerland, you can find quite a few people that speak German still. It's home to everything Olympics related: International Olympic Committee headquarters, Olympics Museum, Olympics Park. If you're an Olympics fan, this is a place for you. Away from the lake, a hilly, gorgeous old city has beautiful medieval shop-lined streets with 12th century stunning Gothic cathedral. Lausanne is the 4th largest city in Switzerland, the only one that has a metro or a subway. Started out, as many other cities in Switzerland, as a Roman military camp. The city has served as refuge to European artists. A lot of poets, writers, and painters have fled here, in particular during the World Wars and other conflicts, not to mention plenty of royal families. Out of the celebrities, T.C. Eliot stayed in Lausanne in 1922, where he wrote his famous poem Wasteland. So did Hemingway. Contrary to this openness and acceptance, the Lausanne sadly has more cruel side to its history. In the end of 16th and middle of 17th century, witch hunt were common affairs in the city. Since the 15th century, they consistently held trials against witches, so to say, where countless innocent women were executed. Number 5, my favorite, St. Gallen. I used to live here, so it's a very special place for me. St. Gallen is a city south of Lake Constance, also known as Bodensee, northeastern Switzerland. The city was founded as a monastery by Irish monk Gallus in 7th century. In the Middle Ages, the city grew around the monastery. Monastery played an essential role in the development of the city, especially in the Middle Ages. Today, the monastery with its library are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The complex includes stunning, absolutely amazing, unbelievable library, a must-see, with a rich collection of ancient books and ancient documents, but that's not as exciting. The most exciting is just the interior of the library. It is absolutely stunning. It is sadly not allowed to shoot in the library, so, well, I don't know, if you imagine how library would have looked in Harry Potter movie, that would be roughly the estimate. So definitely a must-see. Nearby, the Textile Museum details the important local trade. In 18th and 19th century, city became known for its embroideries and is still well known for it today. A famous fashion house was established here in St. Gallen and still is active at Chris. Number 6, Chur. Chur is an alpine city and the capital of the Graubünden canton, eastern Switzerland. Chur is the oldest settlement north of the Alps and thus the oldest city in Switzerland. The city has recently celebrated its 2000-year anniversary of Roman Chur, as most cities in Switzerland. This one was also established by Romans, but the origins of the city go back to 9000 BC. Hence 11,000 years old. The name Chur most likely derives from Celtic Cora or Korea, meaning tribe. Winding cobbled streets in the medieval Old Town will lead you to the 13th century Cathedral of the Assumption. If you're into hiking, no problem. Within just 15 minutes from the downtown Bram-Bruges aerial cableway will ascend you to stunning plateau with trails and panoramic views over the Alps and to winter ski slopes. From Chur, the famous Bernina Express train crosses the Alps into Italy, one of the most beautiful panoramic routes in Switzerland and in the world. Number 7, Schaffhausen. Schaffhausen is a Swiss town on Upper Rhine River, a wine-growing region near Germany. Baroque buildings with bay windows, lavishly decorated facades embellish the gorgeous medieval town. All of that is dominated by beautiful 16th century Monot fortress. What could be more than fairy tale-like town? I don't know. 170 stunning bay windows bring Schaffhausen fame as one of the most beautiful towns in Switzerland. Knight's House. Schaffhausen's most famous landmark was built in 1492 and rebuilt in 1566 by Ritter Hans, since then became known as the House of the Knight. This is one of the most beautiful facades in Switzerland. Abbey of Old Saints is located in the Old Town. The monastery was founded in 1049 and church was built here in 12th century. It is the largest and most well-preserved monastery complex in Switzerland, with luxurious garden that used to be an old cemetery in which in 16th and 19th century Schaffhausen's nobles were buried. Around the garden you will find the largest indoor gallery in Switzerland. Schaffhausen is conveniently located right next to Stein am Rhein, a town that we're going to visit next, and it's literally 20 minutes by train. Number 8, beautiful Stein am Rhein. As I mentioned, they're located very, very close to one another. Schaffhausen and Stein am Rhein definitely make sense to visit together. It's a small town west of Lake Constance, northeastern Switzerland. It is known for well-preserved, half-timbered medieval houses with beautifully painted facades. Most of the wealthiest houses are actually clustered around the Rathausplatz, or the town hall. No wonder there, because back in the day that was a prime real estate where most of the wealthiest merchants and politicians, people with power of the city, were located. For this well-preserved streets, Stein am Rhein received a very prestigious Walker Prize. Originally a small fishing village, it started growing in the 11th century when Emperor Henry II transferred Benedictine St. George Abbey here. He granted the abbey ample rights that allowed for trade to develop at good pace, and the town became a prosperous commercial center. Beautiful St. George Abbey. It's a former Benedictine monastery complex with a very interesting museum. As we've already mentioned, Abbey played an essential role in the development of the city, and that's not the only one. If you remember, St. Gallen developed also due to its abbey. On the hilltop overlooking the town, you will see Hohenglingen Castle that dates back to Middle Ages. Number 9, Lucerne, one of my absolute favorite cities in Switzerland. It's a rather compact city known for its beautiful medieval old town that sits amid massive snow-capped mountains on a stunning Lake Lucerne. Very few places in the world can boast something like that. Thanks to its proximity to Alps, mountains of Riga and Pilatus, it's a great destination to combine historical sightseeing and active hiking, skiing types of tourism. Lucerne is pretty much in the very center of Switzerland, placing you within an easy reach to the most beautiful hiking trails that Switzerland has to offer. The city is famous for its covered Kapellbrücke, or chapel bridge, that was built in 1333 that links left and right banks of Reuss River. It's a centerpiece of Lucerne's old town and is considered one of the most beautiful and oldest covered wooden bridges in Europe. And further famous landmark would be the Musek Mauer, or the city wall Musek, which was exception of only one of its towers has been preserved in its original well-fortified state. And finally, number 10, Lugano, the largest city in Ticino, and the main site to visit is actually outside of the city. So according to the world polls, the best stunt in the history of cinema apparently, Bonds jumped from 220-meter Verzasco Dam, and that's what you see right here. That's exactly how it looks down there. I'm pretty sure the actor himself didn't jump, but who knows. So it was used in movie Golden Eye. It's right in the beginning if you want to take a look. It's a very exciting thing. It's still in operation, it's still functional. In the summer season it would cost you 255 francs to do so. Finally, Lugano, the largest city in Ticino, located on the shores of picturesque Lake Lugano between two mountains, Monte San Salvatore and Monte Bre. Lugano is a stunning place, truly, a very, very beautiful city. It competes with Montreux for the right to be jazz capital. A lot of festivals here, and particularly the July annual jazz festival takes place here. It was first in Lugano where Eurovision Song Contest was held. The historic center of Lugano, Centro Storico, is real Little Italy with elegant palazzos, charming piazzas, and Renaissance and Baroque buildings. The main square of Lugano, Piazza Riforma, surrounded by traditional Italian houses, and in the southern part, neoclassical town hall. By the way, there's a tourist office there, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. On the weekend in the evenings, the square becomes a real center of attention with all sorts of events taking place here. The other key site in Lugano would be Cathedral of San Lorenzo, or Lawrence. It's a remarkable 16th century Renaissance church built with the white limestone and Carrara marble. The cathedral was built on the site of earlier Romanesque church. The cathedral was devoted to the patron saint of Lugano, Saint Lorenzo, located on the terrace overlooking the city. The stunning view from there opens, and it has a very, very beautiful Renaissance facade of middle 16th century. And that would be all that I wanted to share with you today about top 10 most fascinating, most beautiful cities in Switzerland. Hope the advices were helpful. Check out the full videos. There'll be links in the description below. I made full videos about most of the cities we've mentioned today. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you soon.